Welcome to another episode of That's a Tap. I'm CT with my man DJ. How are you doing all? I'm excited to talk about the UFC London card, the big one this weekend, and a lot of news that's come this week. How are you feeling, man?
Feeling great. Like we're thankful, CT. I know you're on this massive road tour. Who are you meeting? You're meeting some VIPs, huh? Who's in the back seat? Is that Floyd Money Mayweather in the back seat? We were thankful that you were able to make some time. It's great to catch up. We want to obviously talk about UFC London, some big news that came up in the MMA world or the UFC world, and then also talk about a boxing event that's taking place this weekend, which it's got quite a lot of significance for us down under with George Ferocious Kambosos fighting. So, all right, so we got the UFC London, we got the boxing bout as well. Which one's got your attention?
Oh, it's a big one. Um, I would say the UFC for sure. London, the crowd, the cards have always been fantastic there. What about yourself?
Yeah, man, can't disagree with that. Like, I mean, every time the UFC's been to London post-pandemic, even pre-pandemic, but post-pandemic, it's hit a different level. Yeah, look,
Yeah,
quite keen, excited, great main event, or more so, very keen to witness the return of Tom Aspinall, who we, expected to and expect to do great things in the heavyweight division. Obviously, as you can remember, he had a freak injury in the middle of his fight with Curtis Blades and had to be unceremoniously declared a defeat for him due to doctor stoppage. But that's the nature of the game. And look, he's recovered, fixed himself, and he's back. Excited to see. I mean, obviously, he's looking a lot leaner and meaner. He's taking on the number 10 ranked Aspinall Tybura. This is a fight that he called out. He actually called out to have this in Poland because he said he wanted to fight there. The fight is happening, but no way he wanted to. Tabura himself is coming off of a 3-fight win streak as well. So yeah, look, man. Excited for the main event, excited for the card. But do you feel that as opposed to the previous UFC London cards, remember, if you recall, the very first one post-pandemic was actually a fight night, right? But it just went off. Um, do you feel this card is somewhat, a little bit more leaner as opposed to those cards?
yeah, 100%. Like you said, look, it's always hype. It's good for the audience out there, and great main event. But to be honest, it's not as big as it could have been.
Yeah,
What do we got? Molly McCann as the
yeah,
co-main.
yeah,
A lot of English fighters
yeah,
are doing really well. It's just
yeah,
a shame there's no Leon Edwards.
yeah,
There's no Paddy Pimblett.
yeah,
Um, Allen. I don't even know if Allen's on this card. We'll get to it if he is, but I think there's a lot more. It could have been bigger. What are your thoughts?
yeah. No, it definitely could have been. Obviously, there was no secret. They were originally targeting a pay-per-view event in London, and they wanted to headline the event with Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. Obviously, Leon Edwards wasn't ready wouldn't have been ready in time for July, so they had to
Yeah,
obviously change that, and change the main event, etc., and made it a fight night. Yeah, look, it's still a very strong fight night. There's a lot of local talent. You got Tom Aspinall, Molly McCann, Nathaniel Wood, Paul Craig's making his middleweight debut. I'm excited for that. Jai Herbert, who's Leon Edwards'
yeah,
teammate, and said that he will be in the corner of him. We've got Laurent Murphy, David Grant, Danny Roberts, Mark DeKeesey. There's a lot of London and England or United Kingdom talent there.
yeah,
Even Irish talent. There's a Shauna Bannon from Ireland making a debut, highly supported by the notorious Conor McGregor. So look, and we always know that, like, even sometimes when we have, what do you call them, leaner cards, UFC still delivers. Some of these fights still deliver. So I'm expecting, because the crowd will play a big part in this, right? Like, so we're
yeah,
gonna have a massive UK crowd. It's happening in the O2, right? Is that correct? Yeah. So in the O2
yeah,
arena, they're gonna pack that out, and then the crowd, the fans are going to be nuts, like from start to finish. They're just going to be quite vocal. It's going to be an electric atmosphere, which will feed into the fight and the fighters, and we'll see some crazy events or crazy fights. Do you remember that one event? I think it was the UFC Fight Night London, where everyone pretty much had a great performance, and Dana had to hand out like bonuses for everyone who had
Yeah.
a finish. So yeah, look, that's the type of fights we expect to get when the UFC goes back to London. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm glad it's the comeback kid though. In this instance, Tom Aspinall, like
yep,
you said, was really on a great climb before that
yep,
wretched injury, and I think he's got all the talent in the world. And I think the heavyweights, obviously after John Jones, we don't know if he's going to give it up. We don't know if
yep,
Stipe is going to retire soon. So I think
yep.
that division, I think an emphatic win. What do you think could help his chances?
Man, I mean, look, I don't know if you caught this interview of Dana White. He started to talk about, imagine the US versus the UK, which is John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. So, which is no secret that he loves, he wants to see that matchup. So if Tom Aspinall gets a
Mm.
great win here, right? I mean, look, it's no secret he's going against a number 10 guy, but there are some odds stacked against him, which is coming back from an injury. How is he going to look and feel, that prolonged time outside of the cage. And then, obviously, you're a big believer in ring rust, surpassing all that. And if he's able to,
Yeah,
give out an outstanding performance, I mean, we're soon going to be starting to talk about him versus the champion, which is John Jones. Or, like you pointed out, there's a lot that's, being spoken about in terms of John Jones, Stipe, their future in the sport. What they're thinking. Sort of, John Jones has said, look, after Stipe, if he's not Francis, I don't see anything. I'm retiring. So either way, I think we'll have Tom Aspinall in that championship conversation. I do feel a win here. We would potentially be looking at him either taking on Cyril Gane, who's fighting not too long after in Paris, or we might see him and
yeah,
someone who's been wreaking havoc in that heavyweight division, which is Pavlovich, right? Who's the number
yeah,
one ranked contender. So look, so we might see some exciting matchups for Tom Aspinall. He was unstoppable up until that point when that injury happened. We might even see a Curtis Blade rematch. We don't know, but I
mm.
feel like if he gets a win here, like an emphatic win, it's just going to be a top three matchup. I feel. Yeah. Or if
Yeah.
John Jones
Agree.
or if John Jones stays and says, you know what, let's do it. Let's fight in the UK. Right? Me and Tom, US and the UK, let's do it. And then if he sees some sort of value in that spectacle, we might end up seeing that. So we'll
Yeah.
see. But
Don't
like as
forget
you
it.
said,
Don't forget about our guy from the area. If he has a
oh,
big one in Sydney,
yeah. Hey
bam,
man,
bam, Tui Vasa.
you can never count him out, man. Like he's just 2 wins away from, just being back at the top. And his fighting style, exciting. People want to watch him. He's got a huge fan base. Absolutely. I'd love nothing but to see Bam Bam fight for a title, man. And better still, win the title. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
What do you think about the co-main now? Molly McCann's been rising up.
Yeah.
What's ahead of her?
Well, she's fighting Julia Stoliarenko. But look, Molly's coming off of a loss to Erin Blackfield last November in Madison Square Garden, right? But again, she's put on some outstanding performances every time the card's taken place in the UK, and she's fought in every
Yeah,
one of those since the pandemic. The one difference this time will be that she won't be fighting with a teammate and friend, Patty Pimblett.
yeah,
Look, I think she'll be keen to, not only put on a show for her fans, for the home crowd, but also get back in the win column, right? I think, since that two London events, her star power rose as well. And I think even the UFC will be keen to sort of build on that. I think a couple of wins and she'll be back on that. So yeah, look, it's a good
mm.
one. I really love the next fight in the card, Nathaniel Wood and Andre Philly. Daniel Wood's
Oh,
been
yeah,
really great, and
it's a
he's on
banger.
a cool win streak. Andre Philly, we know, is a game opponent, so it's going to be, look, potential for fight of the night. To be honest, like we got that. One of the things I'm most looking forward to is Paul Craig's debut
Yes.
in the middleweight division. He is fighting another extremely good grappler in Andre Muniz, right? So
Yeah.
I'm keen to see how this goes. It seems like the weight cut's no issue for Paul Craig, and we know that Paul Craig had a lot of success in that light heavyweight division up until sort of them
Yeah.
going on and clashing with some of the top five guys. So if he was able to have that success against bigger guys, it's going to be very interesting and exciting to see where he slots into it if he's able to get a win. But again, no easy feat.
Mm.
Obviously, it's no secret. Paul Craig's main weapon is his grappling, and he's going against another strong grappler. So it's a great matchup. Great matchup. So kudos to the matchmakers. But yeah, I'm excited to see how that pans out.
Yeah, he's a favourite of mine, Paul Craig, and
Yeah,
um, obviously his striking game has been criticised, but yeah, cutting weight, it's going to be fascinating to see how that
yeah,
plays out. Another look, I like when there's a bit of refreshment,
yeah,
some excitement back in another division.
yeah,
I like fighters going up, going down. We've talked about it sort of off air, but
yeah.
anything else from this card you want to highlight? Obviously, London.
Yeah,
It's
like
going to be a big one.
it is going to be a big one. It's going to be it'll be obviously, like I said, a packed arena. The event will be electric. It'll be great. It'll be a great watch. And look, yeah, man, like I think
Mm.
some key implications for certain fighters in this card, depending on the outcome of their respective fights. Like people like Tom Aspinall, got a lot to gain or lose. We've got Paul Craig, obviously, also like a known name. Imagine a win, right? In his middleweight debut, we might see him matched up against the top five middleweight. So yeah, look, some great things out here. So good card. Looking forward to it. And yeah, look, we'll obviously talk more on these fighters and the fights in our recap next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And just before we touch on the fight, the boxing fight this weekend was also, but the week, it's been a huge week for the UFC of announcements. We see, firstly, Israel Adesanya
Yeah,
take to his social media, put a video out calling out Drickus,
yeah,
called him Dickless de Pussy. I'll get
man.
your thoughts on that. Uh, these two add a lot of character to the fight game. It's going to be
Yeah,
good, but unfortunately, we're not going to see that. We're going to see Strickland step
yeah,
in. What were your thoughts on that?
man. Look, if you recall, like 3 episodes ago, we predicted this, right? We said, look, the matchup
You
of
did.
Whitaker to Place is too close to the Sydney event. So I do feel Strickland may be the one fighting in Sydney. Having said that, look, you're obviously understandable. He's injured, uh, so he can't make it. So I love the Strickland matchup, man. Like I think it's an exciting fight. It's sort of a
Mm.
it's a formula for success in terms of entertainment. Right? I mean, the pre-fight lead-up is going to be entertaining. The fight itself is going to be entertaining because Sean Strickland is someone who does walk forward and likes to march forward. And we know, look, man,
Mm.
I've said this time and time again. There is no better striker in the UFC than Israel Adesanya. So he's look, it does the matchup does play into his strengths. Well, man, I'd love to see. We're going to be live there for that event. Having said that, hey, gotta say this: that matchup is not confirmed yet by the UFC. There are some call outs. Obviously, Easy's called Strickland out, and Strickland's responded saying, "Yep, like I'm cutting
Yes.
weight, etc." So,
Yep.
but it only makes sense, right? Like, I mean, it's a strong headliner. Let's be honest. It doesn't matter who Israel Adesanya fights, as long as he fights on a card, people are going to watch. People are going to tune up. People are going to rock up, right? So it makes a lot of sense for the UFC to keep him in that card. And man, he's been one of the most active champions and active fighters in this roster, right? Like it's fought so many
Oh,
times. He fights every single challenge that's put in front of him. Like Dana said it, everyone says it. Like one of the best champions, great fighter. Man, doesn't matter. He could fight anyone. I'm excited for that Sydney event. So, but yeah, look, hope that comes into fruition. I know there was a whole slew of events that got announced for UFC Sydney as well. So, which with a lot of local talent, which is either from obviously New Zealand or the Australia, the ANZ region. Man, it's already shaping up to be a great card. And as soon as that main event gets announced, and I think it will before next week because I saw the tickets are going on sale next Friday. So
Yeah.
yeah, so they'll definitely announce it prior to that. So we just have to hold on and wait because hey, don't be surprised if it gets announced in the next couple of days because the UFC's been on fire with some fight announcements lately.
Yeah, it ties in with September, man, with the UFC 5 video game.
Yep.
The release of that is pending September as well.
Hey, we might get
So yeah.
early access at the arena. We'll be like, oh, that's a tap.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's your UFC 5.
Yeah, but hey, also there was the big announcement for Abu Dhabi. Islam Makhachev, a rematch versus Charles Dubronx Oliveira.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on that? We've seen this before.
yeah.
He gets the rematch.
Yeah, I know we spoke about this offline. Look, I'll be honest, I got mixed feelings about this, and the reason is I love Charles Oliveira, and obviously Islam has also proven himself to be a very strong fighter, right? He's made his claim to being the rightful champion of that 155-pound division. Having said that, we had numerous reports saying that, even including from the mouth of the horse itself, that Charles Oliveira will not be ready to fight in October because he's obviously for whatever reason and he wants more time. Maybe November, December could be a possibility. So for me, we're getting a rematch, right? Charles Oliveira is an entertaining fighter. If he were to lose to Islam this time, and if Islam retains a championship, it's going to be a very hard road to climb back up to that third title shot with him. So I'm a bit
Yep.
surprised they rushed this matchup. So I don't know what the conversation was behind closed doors. Because I would have liked the conversation last time, and we don't know the truth behind this, but the last time the conversation from the Oliveira camp was like couldn't prepare properly for
Yeah.
the Islamic fight. So I couldn't, turn up to be the best version of myself. I don't want that to be the case again. If we are seeing that fight again, you know what I mean? That's the only thing. But look, as long as both fighters are healthy and they're the best version, I'm open to that matchup, right? I know, we spoke about how that first time around was quite a dominant victory for Islam, but again,
Yeah.
that aspects from the Charles Oliveira side, where hey, I wasn't the best version of myself, so I didn't turn up, and next time I will. And look, you tend to sort of want to believe it partially because we saw what he did against Benil Dariush. But again, having said that, man, Islam is also that much better as well. So great fight. But
Yeah.
here's the matchup. Here's the matchup that got my attention. Here's the matchup that said, hey, come what may, I'm going to be tuning in for this UFC Abu Dhabi card. The reason is we're getting Paulo Costa and Hamzat Chimaev. I'm excited for the return of Hamzat Chimaev. He hasn't fought in a very long time, over a year now. By the time they fight, even Paulo Costa will be over a year since he fought last time because he last fought in August last year in Utah, if you recall, in the same card as Edwards Usman too. So
Yep.
I'm excited for that matchup, man. That's something that excites me a lot.
Oh, big time. Me too. And I agree with you with the Oliveira one. It's a little underwhelming, but it makes so much sense. They're such
Yeah,
great fighters at the top
yeah.
of their game. We were always probably going to get them matched up again, and let's
Mm.
wait to see what happens. But
Yeah.
I don't think we've discussed. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly on the Oliveira topic, you know what this means, right? Because I was a bit baffled because Wolf came out and said he's going to be ready for the October card. So I was very
Mm,
surprised they didn't go in that direction because we have one guy who was saying he was not going to be ready for October, and then we had Wolf who's saying, "Yeah, I'll be ready. Like October is fine for me." And they had arguably the fight of the year, right, in terms of technicality, skill set, everything. So I was surprised they didn't go that direction. So maybe they are saving that fight for a later date, which also indicates that the UFC, because Volk said I want to fight again this year, so which means that obviously we will get the Volkanovski versus Topuria fight, which is
Topuria,
also
yeah.
a great fight. Yeah, it's also a great fight. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like could have done that. There would have been a great storyline. Hey, Islam came to Perth, now Volk's going to Abu Dhabi. That'll be crazy.
Yeah, that will be, and I agree. I'm not as big on that one, but again, these guys need to fight this year again, so it's something to look forward to still. But John Jones Stipe, DJ, I don't think we've discussed that yet.
Yeah,
Finally, we get to see that Madison Square Garden, the GOAT heavyweight
yeah,
versus the GOAT.
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to November as well.
yeah. Absolutely, man. Like, I mean, Madison Square Garden, they always deliver the fight cards. Um, Look, hey, the the John Jones versus Stipe is going to be happening for that heavyweight championship, right? On top of that,
Yeah,
there's going to be more significance to this fight. It's also going to be happening for the GOAT status, right? We've got the greatest heavyweight of all time taking on the greatest of all time, right? So man, there's a lot at stake. I hope I hope the best version of Stipe turns out, because that's when you get the high level of competition. You're also, again, man, like, there's no
yeah.
bigger advocate for ring rust than yourself. And Stipe's been out for a very long time since I lost to
Oh,
Francis. He actually fought. So man, look, we gotta see how that pans out. But hey, another fight that's rumored for that card is the Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington fight. Man, that'll be a
yes.
banger core main event, right?
Oh,
And then, could you
yeah.
imagine this? Could you imagine that? I don't know. Like, if there's anyone who could do it, if there's any champion who could do it, it'll be Israel Adesanya. Imagine if he beats Strickland quite quickly, right? No damage taken, and does a quick turnaround and fights in Madison Square Garden against Brickus. Could you imagine that? What a card that would be, man! Like, especially with John Jones and Adesanya
Oh,
having squashed their beef, like they're fighting together in the same card, Madison Square Garden. You got Leon
yeah.
Edwards, like Paradigm Sports. I don't know, man. Like, what else can you do? Put Conor McGregor in there.
Iron Mike Chandler versus McGregor. I mean, I don't think
Jeez.
we're going to see that this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't
We'll
believe so
talk
either.
about it. What's on the cards for December so far? Is anything locked in for that?
Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Don't be surprised if they make the Wolf Topuria card for Topuria fight for that card.
Hmm.
I don't know, man. Unless they find a way to bypass. Well, Conor McGregor's in fight camp, according to obviously social media.
Okay.
He's back in Ireland. He's back in his own gym. But hey, if they find a way to bypass this USADA protocol, and still, I mean, obviously making sure that they both athletes are clean and they're tested. Uh, if they can bypass this 6-month protocol, we could get. And look, if they ever were to do it for anyone that is a UFC, that is, it'll be for Conor McGregor to try and bring him back, and then um, they probably, to cap off one of the best years for the company. I think to be able to get Conor McGregor to fight as well in the year of 2023, that'll probably be one of the most monumental years in the business for the UFC.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see what happens with that,
Yes,
because the best fights of the year are yet to come, and like we
absolutely.
said, this November is going to be insane. But this weekend, we got the boxing George Kambosos trying
Yeah,
to work his way back up the ranks,
yeah,
fighting Max. Is it
yeah. So
Kambosos versus
Maxi Hughes. So
yeah
George
Maxi
Cambo,
Hughes?
yeah. So George Cambosos is fighting out of Sydney. It's taking on Maxi Hughes, who is fighting out of Britain. He's on a, what is that, like a 7-fight win streak. He's got 33 fights, 26 wins, 5 losses. Look, he's predominantly his wins have come by decision. However, there are 5 that have come through
Hmm.
knockout as well. So look, man, Cambosos is itching to get back in there. He's been calling out Tank Davis. He's been calling out Teofimo again, Lomachenko.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
you know, he's one of those fighters again. I think that lightweight division's on fire at the moment. So he's one of those fighters, like, it's again quite exciting to watch. He always brings the fight, right? No matter what. Like, he's got heart. And we saw that in the Haney fight. We saw that in the Lopez fight as well, where he just was willing to take one, to give one. So look, man, like, wish him well in this fight. And I'll be obviously tuning in for that as well. And see how it goes. If he's able to get a win there, hey, we might see him getting matched up with one of these his top guys. They're all calling each other out, but no one fighting. Seems like the lightweight division is going back to where it started, with no one fighting each other. They were off to a good start. We had the Garcia
Yeah.
Davis fight. We had the Lomachenko Haney fight, and now it seems like back to like sort of calling out, but nothing happening. So hey, no secret. The big one we want to see is in that division is that the Haney Stevenson one. Or I'm not even opposed to the Haney Lomachenko rematch, but yeah.
Yeah, agree, man. It's because it's the top, the cream of the crop, and they've kind of a couple of guys have fought each other. Tiafimo's fought Kambosos, so we don't know if he wants to jump in and give him that chance again, but we'll see.
Yep.
We've got obviously the Spence Crawford one coming up at the end of the month.
Yes.
We get closer towards
Yeah.
Yep. And we look forward to that. The Canelo one as well.
Yep.
There's the Inoue coming up. He's fighting.
Yep. So there is some great boxing events lined up. So the big one is next weekend. There's no secret. The big one is the Crawford Spence one, right? Like, so that's no secret. And man, I'll be preparing from Thursday onwards. Like, you know what I mean? Mentally and physically to be able to have a great day watching those cards and having a good time.
Yeah, can't wait for the London UFC this weekend, and then we get more confirmation for the Sydney 293. We'll get our tickets, and that's a tap. We'll be in the building for that. Can't wait.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, this one is a wrap. It's been great chopping this up. We'll see you guys all next week again. DJ, enjoy.
Safe travel, City, and catch you guys in our next episode.
Yeah, peace.